I'm back for another video. My name is Josh Kastic, and today is the Batman non-spoiler review. Now, technically this movie's been out long enough for me not to make this video, but I'm just so used to making a spoiler review, then a review. When it comes to these films, I'm just going to keep kind of with that consistency. And there's probably still people out there that may have no interest in watching the Batman, but may get the interest by watching this non-spoiler review that doesn't spoil the movie at all. So who knows? And maybe there's just some people that don't have the opportunity to watch in the theater right now, and they will watch it when it comes onto DVD or on streaming service or wherever they want to watch it. So it's still a good idea to make this film. Now, obviously, I actually have. This is like the first time in a long time that I actually been on camera or filmed myself on camera since, like, I don't know, for a while, because the last time I actually filmed myself was actually way before I went up to college, like several months ago. And obviously I uploaded some videos that I recorded before going up, like pretty much every weekend. So those don't really count as me actually filming myself, even though I was on camera. But you haven't seen me uploaded video since the last video with me actually on camera. So it's been a while, and so it's like finally able to make this because I'm actually here at home for spring break. So but yeah, so I watched this movie twice. I watched it once while up there, and then I watched it Sunday back home when I got here home with my dad actually. And he actually enjoyed it too. So for me personally, I enjoyed it the second time around. So the first time, I decided to go to bed at like 4 p.m. Not 4 p.m. Did I just say 4 p.m.? 4 a.m. I decided to go to bed at 4 a.m. in the morning, the day that I was going to go see that movie at like 11:45. So you can imagine I actually had a hard time keeping myself awake while watching the movie. I didn't miss anything actually. Every time I noticed myself drifting off, I immediately I like walked up and didn't miss anything really. So I know for a fact I didn't miss any details, but because I kind of was nodding up and down, it made the film feel slow, and it was I guess it wasn't as enjoyable. But I did like the story. I thought it was interesting. It was different. I expected some other things to happen, but didn't happen. But I guess now watching the second time around and, hearing perspectives, it makes a lot of sense the way they went about it. Now, I knew for a fact going to this movie that this is trying to play more into the Batman comics that any other Batman movie's ever done before, because it wants to play on that detective part that the other movies haven't really done that much of. Those other movies have always been kind of that superhero thing, where this version isn't necessarily like that. I mean, there are some heroic parts in it, but like it's not. It's more of that detective side from the comics, and that is not a spoiler. That the director has said that himself several times, that he wants that detective part. And so we knew, like pretty much everyone knew, or everyone who's been listening should understand going on that it's going to play on that detective side of things, because that's more accurate to Batman. And they did that really well. For me, the first time of viewing, I think they did that too much, because to be honest, detective and being a hero are that I think you need to play both parts, being a hero and being the detective, because I feel like both of those fit Batman. But my first time viewing, I just didn't see it. I feel like it was more of a detective movie, and I kind of thought it was boring, like, and that made it longer, and I was falling asleep. But I have to say, watching the second time, it wasn't that boring. I was not falling asleep. I was wide awake, and it felt fast. So I don't know. I think my problem with the first viewing of the film was me not getting enough sleep, and I think that's my first problem when watching it the first time around. The second time around, much better, and that just tells you that it tells you that as you more watch the film, it actually becomes more enjoyable, and that's a good thing than it doing the opposite. Now, I know I'm I know a lot of people hate like Thor 2, Thor the Dark World. And they thought it was good on, some people thought it was good on screen, but the more they watched it on the DVD or the thing, it just got worse and they realized how bad it is. For me, it wasn't the case, but I can see why people think that. And that's not really good for the film, obviously. If you keep watching, it just gets worse and worse as the more you watch it. This is, for me, it was obviously the opposite, where the Batman, where at first I did enjoy it, but like not as much, but then I enjoyed it more the second time around, and that's a good thing for a film, in my opinion. Obviously, you probably should enjoy it the first time around too, but honestly, I as if something gets better, that just as the more times you watch it, or you have new perspectives, it's just, I think it's much that's a good sign, in my opinion. Okay. So other than that, that's kind of my other thoughts on kind of it. I did enjoy the story. It was 3 hours long. It's a 3 hour movie, but and I felt like some parts were a little dragging, even for the second time around. But other than that, I think the story was really well made. Like, it's really hard to. I don't know if there were, like, even my dad kind of put it. Were there any really plot holes? And I don't think there is a lot of plot holes. I know a lot of people were like, there was like a scene that I can't mention that people might say is a plot hole, but that's something like I said, mentioned, is something my dad is more experienced in, and he says no, it's not a plot hole. Um, so, but I'll get that into the spoiler review part. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I think the story is really well done. I enjoyed the characters. I thought they did a really good job. I, you know, um, I even though I do have a problem with kind of changing characters to fit a political goal, like what they did with Jim Gordon in this movie. But to be honest with you, I think the actor who played him did a really good job playing Jim Gordon, even despite the whole changing of the character from what he used to be in the comics. I still stand by my point that they shouldn't do that, like for a political reason. Like, politics should stay away from movies. They shouldn't be the main focus, because to me that just ruins a movie. I That's like my biggest problem with um, the Eternals, is that it's a political statement than just being a fun, enjoyable Marvel movie. Because that's what it is. It's a political statement. Um, that's my problem with it. Is one of the biggest problems with it. But I think they did a really good job in this film. And I think the guy, what's his name? Something Right. I forgot his first name, but I think he did a good job. And so far I think on the big screen, I think Zoe played the best Catwoman on screen so far. I think it's really good because, to be honest with you, I do like Michelle Pfeiffer's version of Black Widow. I'm not Black. That is Catwoman. Uh, I think she did a good job, but I feel like her character was kind of wasted in that film, or she was wasted in that film, I guess, in a way, because she's like a really good actress. She did do a good job, but like, still, I just felt like this version of Catwoman just did like a really good job of playing that. I think I haven't seen many things with Robert Pattinson, and in fact, the only other thing I've seen Robert Pattinson is Twilight, and I'm not a big fan of Twilight. I think the writing is not that good in those three movies. It's pretty bad, actually, and I don't know about his acting, but like it's. I think he did a good job with. I haven't seen him in anything else, but I think comparing this to Twilight, he did a much better job in this film. I have to say, with his acting and everything, is really well done. I And that's pretty much everything. I do enjoy all the villains. I thought they were interesting. A lot of the movie kind of there's like certain parts of the movie that reminds me of The Long Halloween, which is like, I think is what he was trying to go for. when making this film, like not completely, but just have some similarities within the film with The Long Halloween. It's a big comic storyline that I never read, but there is an animated movie based on it, and it's really interesting. You should definitely check that animated movie, or even read the comic. I don't whatever you prefer. But yeah, I definitely thought that was definitely interesting. That reminded me of watching some parts of the movie remind me of the animated movie. And yeah, that's my and I think the action sequences are really good. The film is mostly filmed in the dark though, so there's not a lot of lighting in the film, which is kind of interesting. I mean, that's kind of an interesting way to make a film, to make it mostly in the dark. But I don't think that's like a downside to it. I thought it's just an interesting formal choice, and I kind of understand formal choices now from like a formal choice is kind of a wording that I learned in my film classes while at college. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts. Good writing. I enjoyed all the characters. I think all the actors did a really good job. I like the action sequences. There's one like I said, I kind of said I expected something at the end. Obviously, it was not what I expected. But I'll get that more into the spoiler review, guys. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.